Did you know that if you're a pension holder, you're also an investor? But what exactly does that mean? Someone told me that if I was a pension holder, I was an investor. And I was very confused because I didn't realize that it was kind of linked to investing. Why is my pension always tied back to investing? And what exactly does that mean?
You are not the only person. Lots of people are really confused about this. And when people hear the word pension, what they think about is the state pension, or maybe they've had some kind of workplace pension where money's paid to them in retirement when they've stopped working. And the bits about what happens to their money whilst they're working in the years up to retirement. And basically what happens, you make contributions from your wages, your employer makes contributions as well. And organisations like Nest take that money and we invest it in all sorts of different things. And then we send it out into the world to make more money for you. And that could be in all sorts of different things.
Okay, so when I look at my payslip, I can see my pension contribution and I want to know, where is that going and what is it doing?
So one of the investments that we have on behalf of our members is into timberland and forestry. So it's, you own parts of forests in the US and in Australia and South America. And that will be kind of growing your money for you, but also things in your community as well. We invest in solar farms, we invest in wind farms. All of that is making money for you, but it's also helping in its transition to a low carbon economy, hopefully bringing down energy prices for local communities. So it's not just about stocks and shares, it's about real things that have a real impact on communities and on the environment.
How does that work? Because I really struggle to understand how that's growing over time, especially when it comes to my pension, because this is money that's being taken out of my payslip for decades, right?
What we're talking about is kind of long-term investment through pensions. So things like buying shares in a company, and just think of household name companies like Sainsbury's or Tesco's. On the whole, those companies are going to make profits over many, many years. Those companies are probably going to get bigger, they're going to be more successful, they're going to generate more profits. By buying a share in that company, you become a shareholder or share owner. You get to benefit from the growth of that company and from the profits they make. The other wonderful thing about pensions and long-term saving is the kind of concept of compound interest, that any kind of return you get in the first year goes back into that investment. It's a larger amount of money.
Okay, so the key thing is here, leaving it for that long-term time.
Yeah, so you get a bigger return. And over many, many years, that then increases an enormous amount, much more than if you were putting it just into a savings account. It's a multiplier effect over many, many years. And then the whole point of a pension is you are setting aside money for later in your life.
When I kind of research pensions, I see things like self-invested personal pensions, workplace pensions. What are the differences?
The big difference between a workplace pension and, say, saving in the short term for a holiday or something is just the length of time that money's being put away. And that gives us more opportunities to grow your money.
Investing seems to be a little bit of a life hack for making a lot more money or generating a bigger pot than trying to save that money.
It will grow much more quickly than your earnings are likely to grow, or whether you just put that aside in a savings account. The big advantage of organisations like Nest, we have a big pool, and it's the default investment strategy where lots and lots of people are investing at the same time. We have the power of kind of collective purchasing. We can get access to much better deals than you'd be able to on your own. We do also allow people to kind of make choices about where their money goes as well. So I think it's really important that if people do want to get engaged and get more involved, they can do, but without making people feel they need to be experts at investing. If you have a car or something, you don't necessarily need to know how the engine works perfectly. You would take that to a mechanic, or you trust the people you're buying that car from. But there's all sorts of things you do want to make decisions about what the car looks like, or whether it's battery powered or a petrol engine and things like that. We have a legal duty to really think hard about what we think is the best way of investing your money for you.
Why wouldn't I want to take on a higher risk pension investment at any point in my life?
No reason. And a bit of it will depend on your kind of personal circumstances. So if you've got lots of wealth all over the place, you've got savings accounts, maybe you've got property, that means you might be able to take much more risk with your money, because you've got all of these other things to fall back on if things don't go as well. We spend a lot of time trying to understand the members we're looking after. So we have to think really, really carefully about what's the right level of risk or how quickly we should be trying to grow their money. There's a bit of Goldilocks. We don't want it to be too hot. We don't want it to be too cold. We want to try and get somewhere in the middle where great opportunity to grow your money, then doing alternative things, but without exposing you to the possibility of your pot size kind of falling a lot at certain periods.
Okay, so it sounds to me like investing is actually more beneficial for me to take on higher risk.
The person who knows their own kind of financial circumstances best is yourself. The more risk you're prepared to take, the more return on the whole you'd expect to get, and vice versa. When you're in a pension fund, risk can be a really scary term for people because markets can go up and down, and on the whole, how companies are valued tends to go upwards. The value of companies or the value of property might change, it might go down. But because you don't really need to access that money that day, on the whole, it's likely to grow and get back to where it was. But it's a very, very sensible kind of way of having money in retirement. Having these kind of conversations is to try and demystify what that means and try and break down what we're talking about when we talk about risk.
If you like this video, subscribe for more.